PGA LatinoAmerica rookie Josh Sedeno joins the pod as we sit down and talk about his first tee anxieties, his slow starts, and the one saying he and his caddy used to overcome.
He goes all in on our rapid fire segment and don't miss his SEC trash talking.
The one rule he wants to change is rough fairways approved, so come on in and stay a while. Good.
So what, you got a Bama shirt on and a Notre Dame plaque behind you. What's up with that?
So
where did you really go?
I'm homeless at the moment, and I am staying with one of my good friends from home who played golf at Notre Dame, and now he's in Mayo Clinic Med School. He's a genius. And so
Nice.
he went to Notre Dame. He played golf there, and now he's on his way. He's a semester away from becoming a surgeon.
Nice.
Yeah,
Wow.
so he's the one who makes sure the bills are paid because he's the smart one of us two for sure.
Right.
Well, I had such a great introduction for you, Josh, but now he's going to be the homeless Josh
Oh,
Sedeno,
it's
who played his collegiate golf at the University of Alabama. So you're not in Scottsdale right now, or you are in Scottsdale right now?
I am in Scottsdale.
You are in Scottsdale now, right now. Okay. Well, how's the game?
It's good. I just went home to Sacramento and did my U.S. Open qualifier, and I just got back. Supposed to be in Ecuador this week, but Ecuador imposed a 30-day curfew. So the tour decided to move Ecuador to next month. So now I've got an unexpected 2-week gap to get ready for the next 4 events in a row that we'll do.
How is the U.S. Open quali?
You know, I had one of my best nines and one of my worst nines in a tournament ever in the same round. So
Sounds like my game, right, Mike?
Yeah, mine too.
So what was it? Give us the good, give us the bad.
42-30.
Wow.
That's like a Tiger Woods Masters round, 42-30.
It was bad.
Okay, so what happened on the front nine, and then how did you turn it around on the back nine?
So it's this course up in Sacramento called El Macero. It's UC Davis's home course, and it's just ridiculously narrow. And every hole's a 30 to 40-yard dog leg, so you've got to hit big slices and draws off the tees. But then we also happened to catch a day where it was blowing 20 to 30 with gusts like up into the 40s. And so every hole, the proper plays to hit, kind of iron a 3-wood to the corner and then play a 9-iron or 8-iron to the green. But if you don't get center of the fairway, so like a hard dog leg left, I'd get left center and then you'd be blocked out. So I had 3 holes on the front where I was in the fairway, and then I had to basically chip out because I couldn't hit the green. And so I I was even through 3, and I played the next 6 over. And then I made the turn, and me and my caddy kind of looked at each other and we're kind of like, all right, might as well send it. So I just started hitting driver over the corners. And then you're either in trouble or you have 50 yards. And I got lucky. I started driving it pretty good and made 6 birdies on the back.
That's awesome.
Is that all that clicked? I mean, you just said, let's send it. And then just everything just started becoming.
Pretty much, because I shot 42 on the front and only hit 1 bad shot. So it kind of wasn't going my way. And I kind of thought I was out of it. So we just started sending it around, and I ended up missing by 1 after shooting 30 on the back. So it ended up being pretty dang close.
Does golf become easier when you're behind?
A little bit. I mean, it frees you up for sure. I mean, I think when you're eating or you're kind of like, you're in the chance to qualify, thoughts pop into your head that you probably don't need to. But when you're behind and there's really nothing to lose, if you hit a couple bad ones, who cares? But it definitely frees you up to take some chances that you probably wouldn't take normally.
I shot 30 on the back once, but it was on Tiger Woods Golf 2007.
2003 is the best one.
I disagree.
I haven't played that for a while, man, but
such a good game when we were younger.
The old ones were great.
Yeah.
So 42-30, you missed it by 1.
I missed a playoff for the last 2 spots for that by 1 shot.
How many golfers for how many spots?
Ooh, I want to say it was 60 something for 5. So I mean, you're pretty typical local qualifier.
Yeah. Okay. So what's next? You're in Scottsdale. The game's okay. You were going to go to Ecuador, and you are a full member of PGA Tour LatinoAmerica?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so the next 2 weeks will be just a lot of working out. My schedule right now, I've been waking up. I wake up pretty early, go work out, go practice and play, just depends on the day. And then I'll work out again in the afternoon, and then just kind of take the afternoon off and do some PT, go swim, kind of just decompress.
Every player that we speak to has some sort of workout routine. And I think if this podcast was hosted maybe 15, 20 years ago, the conversations would be a lot different. They would be like, well, I woke up, I had a 6 omelet breakfast and went and smoked some heaters and then had some Diet Cokes and then hit the course. But now it's just, it seems like we're talking to athletes more nowadays. What's your thoughts on how golf has changed and how golfers have changed?
Yeah, I think a lot of people played sports growing up. I mean, me personally, I played 4 other sports growing up too. So it's just kind of like an aspect of being an athlete. Like as an athlete, you're supposed to go work out. It's just kind of the thing to do. And then with guys like Brooks and Bryson and Tiger, and being kind of a buff golfer is kind of a cool thing now. So, I mean, you're kind of past the days of the chubby, out of shape guys that just kind of hit it around and don't look cool. Now you got golfers that look cool and play good. But it's a huge aspect of playing well now too. I mean, to be competitive, I mean, you've got to hit it X amount. You've got to be able to play 30 weeks a year without getting hurt, which it's a lot easier to do when you're in good shape than in bad shape.
Right.
It's a must now. It really is, because it's like you're a traveling athlete. Obviously, you look at, obviously football is the most violent sport, but the longest sport is baseball. And then I would argue that golf is, like you just said, if you're traveling 30 weeks, especially if you're really trying to get your card, shoot, I mean, you guys have to be physically conditioned, and hopefully you're playing 4 days a week.
Yeah, definitely. And I think too, the one thing people don't realize, because tournaments are only 4 days, but our weeks are 7-day weeks. And then our 7th day is a brutal travel day typically. I mean, at least at our level, I mean, we're not flying private. Like if I make a mistake and fly home, I'm not coming back. I don't get the private jet back. But yeah, I mean, like I just booked my travel for the next month. I mean, one of my flights is at 2 a.m, and then I've got to fly. I get in at 10, check in, and I got to go play a practice run that day. So I mean, our travel isn't super easy at our level. So being in shape, even just small stuff like that, helps for sure.
That sounds crazy.
So your travel schedule? So you're heading off to where again? Next
So
tournament?
I'm here for the next 2 weeks. Then I fly from Phoenix to Miami. We're playing at Weston Hills, which is in Fort Lauderdale. From there, we fly to Bogota, spend a week in Bogota. Then from Bogota, we're flying to Quito, which is Ecuador. And then they're trying to plan a 4th event, but it's kind of undecided at the moment. So we're just kind of hanging tight to hopefully for a 4th event.
So first event's Miami, second event's Bogota.
Quito
Okay.
is the last one, yeah.
Okay. And then will that wrap up your year?
Yeah, so they're trying to get a 4th event to hopefully be the tour championship, but it's just so hard right now to get anybody to commit to anything. So it's just kind of hang tight and just kind of go with the flow, which has kind of been our MO for the last year.
Okay. What's your favorite stop in Latin America? I mean, I just love stories of Latin American golfers. The culture down there is just awesome. The food.
Well, so it's kind of hard to say because I'm a rookie and we've only played 3 events, and we've gone. One was Miami and the other 2 were Mazatlan, which is the same place, which I also did Cusco at. So I've been to Mazatlan 3 times and I've been to Miami. So I really haven't had the Latin American experience like I've heard from everybody. So kind of the thing I'm looking forward to for a lot of it. I mean, I want to kind of go to Bogota and kind of see what it's about, or Quito. I've heard Quito's everyone's favorite spot, one of the spots. So
yeah, I've heard that. We hear that too. I mean, I don't think we've heard a bad story. Everybody has a lot of fun. So.
No, I mean, that's kind of the fun at our age too. I mean, you pack 5 guys into a room and you go eat on a currency you don't understand and try to speak a language you don't really know, and just kind of make the most of it.
We had Luke Kwan on last week, and he went over to PGA Tour China to regain his card, and he got food poisoning, I think 6 straight days while he was there.
Yeah, it was not a good time for him.
Where it made him nervous just to eat food. I mean, imagine that on top of trying to make it on tour. I mean, that's What's the best city with the best food you've ever been to?
Ooh, man. It kind of depends what you like. For me, my whole family's Hawaiian, so anytime I got to go to Hawaii, that was always kind of a big plus for me. Um, really like I'm really lucky. I grew up with two parents that are both great cooks, so if I could have it my way, I'd honestly like to eat at home. I really enjoy going home and eating a home cooked meal.
Is your family still in Hawaii?
My grandparents and aunts and uncles are. My family is in, my mom and stepdad are in Loomis, which is a small town outside of Sacramento. And then my dad and stepmom are up in Napa.
Okay.
Yeah, talk about your Hawaiian heritage. I know you and I were talking last week via text and everything, but how did you get into golf? I know you have a pretty decorated junior record, and we'll get to that, but talk about how your Hawaiian ties to, tie into golf, and how did you get into the game?
Yeah, so both my parents were born and raised in Hawaii. My mom's family moved there when she was 1. My dad's family goes back to all the way to the last queen, which would be Queen Kailani. We have some website somewhere that actually proves that.
That's a great pronunciation, by the way. Good job. It took me 2 years just to pronounce any kind of street around here, but go on.
Yeah, so our heritage goes back a long way, especially on my dad's side. My mom's side they're Greek and they're adopted Hawaiians. What do they call them? They call them, what's the word? You would know this. Howleys.
Oh, yeah. I got you. Yep.
Yeah, so they're the Howleys. And so then my dad was in the Air Force, joined the Air Force at 18 and got stationed in Sacramento. So that's how him and my mom ended up there. And then once he finished his 4-year run, he actually became a firefighter. He was Crash and Rescue Air Force. And so then he transitioned into city firefighter, which he did for 32 years. And so he just retired a couple of years ago, thankfully. So he's all
awesome
player. But my entire life growing up, we would go back and visit my grandparents. And I actually talked to them yesterday for Mother's Day. And they're both just wake up, go to the beach, and kind of do their thing in Hawaii. They're all retired, so they're just kind of enjoying the real Hawaii life.
Right. Did they play golf?
My mom's grandparents did. My dad's mom is just the most typical Hawaiian lady you've ever met. She's never seen a golf course in her life, which I have a great story later on about her. But introduced by my dad. My dad was a big golfer when I was growing up. That was kind of his excuse when I was young to get to the golf course was, I'm going to take Josh to the course today. And so it just kind of started out with me being a little kid tagging along to kind of growing up and really loving it. So it's kind of obviously become a career at this point, but started pretty small.
What made you really fall in love with the game? Do you remember that?
Yeah, for me, I was actually, early on, it wasn't my best sport, and baseball was. And the one part about baseball that always bugged me was when someone else would mess up and there was nothing I could do about it, which kind of the reality of a lot of sports. But that's kind of what attracted me to golf, is it was kind of on you. And my parents got divorced when I was young, and my dad moved to a golf course. And so I'd come home from school and I do my homework, and I just go barefoot and go chip and putt for three hours and look for balls.
Someone come get Ivy.
I grew up as a little kid just messing around on a golf course. So it just kind of was part of how I grew up and just kind of fell in love with it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought it was muted.
No, that's great content. Really. That's really good content. That's what we're all about here. Okay, so let's stay in junior golf here. I just literally saw this, and I had to blink twice on how many junior wins you had. Do you know how many junior golf wins that you have, Josh Sedeno?
Oh gosh, I would say probably close to 40.
You're right. If I gave you the over under of 35.5, what would you take?
Oh, probably the under.
Oh, the over. You are wrong.
Oh, nice.
Well, I should say, I mean, this is considering high school. You finished your high school career with 37 junior golf wins. Do you remember them all, Josh?
If I didn't know the number, I'd be like,
that's a no. That's a hard no. Do you remember the first?
Oh, yeah, I definitely do.
What was it? Come on.
It was the first tee. So it's actually funny. So our first tee program was probably the most competitive in the country at the time. We had Cameron Champ, Austin Smotherman, he won on the Corn Ferry yesterday.
Okay.
Corey Pereira's on the Corn Ferry, Blake Abercrombie's Latin America. I mean, we had in a 5-year little gap there, we had probably 5 to 10 guys go to top D1 schools. And I mean, our first tee program is ridiculous. And so
Sounds like it.
It was a first tee event, and it was at a course just right down the street, about 10 minutes from where I lived. And I had the lead going in the last hole, I think by 2. And I topped it on the tee. I was so nervous in the water. I'm playing with the kid that I'm beating. He hits it down the middle. I get one out there and play, hit it to about 40 feet, and he hits it to about 10. So he's got a putt. If I miss, he's got 2 putts to win or something. And this is back when you're young enough to where they have a walking score. And so our scorer happened to be my dad that day. And this 40-foot putt I hit, I mean, it was going so far off the green. And it did one of those. It hit the back lip, popped up in the air, and fell in. And my dad, I'm like 12. I scream I go nuts. And my dad's just shaking his head. And then the kid missed his putt, and I won with like a 74 or something. I mean, when I was that young. But yeah, it was. I made it harder than I needed to, for sure.
Sure. Oh, those are the best putts.
After like 10 to 15 wins, though, did you ever get bored of winning? Did it become like, honestly, did it become almost, did it feel like it was too easy? Were you just that much better than the field?
I got lucky because I grew up pretty fast. So I was already kind of like 5'10" at 12 or 13 years old. So for my age, I hit it like 270, 280, which at that age is pretty long.
That's long now. Well, not now, but yeah.
Yeah. But I remember almost setting unrealistic expectations. Like, I remember my goal one year when I was like 13 was to win every tournament I played in, which I think I started off and won the first 3 or 4, and then I lost one. And just at 13, I had a meltdown, and I was like, my dad had to have a talk with me. He's like, hey, this isn't a normal thing. Like, people don't do this. So it definitely was kind of like a check a little bit, because I was already setting goals that were just out of this world crazy.
Yeah. But you were meeting them too, though. Like you win 3 straight and you're thinking, well, gosh.
Yeah. I mean, you can only do that for so long.
Sure.
But I mean, it's good. I mean, at any level, it's good to win. So it gave me confidence early on. Honestly, I think that's what hooked me to work even harder. When I got really good was after kind of had started winning a little bit. I was like, oh man, because I had gone for baseball was my best sport. And then I finally kind of break through and start winning. I was like, oh man, I could actually be really good at this. And so I just kind of started busting my butt that was kind of 13, 14 was when I started playing just golf only. I had played other sports up until then too. So that's when I saw kind of a big jump too as well.
What position in baseball were you?
Shortstop, which I played kid pitch. We played coach. So 14, I would have been just my 8th grade year. And I think I batted like 700 for a season.
Wow.
And I remember my dad just absolutely lost it when I was like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. Because baseball was his big thing too. He loved baseball. And so it was kind of like our big thing to do together, but it just wasn't really doing it for me. And then high school in California, we're a spring golf season. So going into high school, I had to pick golf or baseball. Yeah. And so it ended up being golf for me, which I ended up being a good heart.
Just broke your dad's heart, huh?
Yeah, for a while. He got over it though.
Yeah.
So now that your dad's retired, does he travel with you at all?
He tries. COVID's been tough. Yeah, sure. Being a firefighter, especially back when he started. I mean, that was back when they used to go into fires with no masks. So
right,
his immune system and his lungs aren't as great as you would hope, but it's just kind of the part of his job. But now he's been vaccinated, so he's a little more comfortable traveling, but he wants to come when he can. It's hard. I mean, he's got stuff to do too. He's still trying to work a little bit and kind of do some other stuff as well.
So take me back to Hawaii. Okay. You play when you go back there? You got family there. Do you got friends and stuff? Do you guys just mess around or?
Yeah, no, it's actually I don't know if there's ever been a trip where I didn't golf while I was there. My grandparents country club for gosh, probably 30 or 40 years. They're one of the older members of the club too. So we'd always speak in a couple rounds. And then once I got to college, it actually became a golf trip to go back there. We used to go during Christmas or Thanksgiving. And then I started going during the summers to go spend some time and play the Hawaii State amateur there called the Manoa Cup.
Nice. Since your dad was in the military, did you ever play the course at MCBH?
Yeah.
I got to play there a couple years ago. That's such a sweet course.
Yeah, well, and the cool thing out there, you get the they call them Hawaii 5-0 Fridays, and they do or at least they take the fighter jets up and they do some like testing and stunt driving.
Nice.
If you're on the course, you get to watch. So it's pretty cool front row show.
We saw some big old like C-130s take off, but nothing jets or anything.
Was that win at the Manoa Cup your last amateur win before you turned pro? Because you turned pro in 2019, right?
Yeah, I want to say that was 18, so probably, yeah, I think so.
That was during your senior year, yeah. Good.
Gosh, get one phone call and the whole thing goes.
Oh, was it?
No sweat. That's the beauty of podcasts. We can edit stuff out. Anyways, continue.
Yeah, so the Manoa Cup was my last win, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. So you graduate in 2019 from Alabama.
Yep.
And did you immediately turn pro? Was there a big decision process?
Yeah. So to go back a little bit, I graduated high school a semester early. So I early enrolled in January. And then, so that was January of 16, was there that semester. And then 17, 18, 19, I graduated a year early. I graduated August 19 and then drove a U-Haul across the country from Tuscaloosa to Phoenix. And so then I turned pro. My first pro event was Q School. Just kind of wheeled and dealed and went to Q School and said, let's see how this is. And I played well. I shot 13 under, I'm pretty sure, and finished 12th or something like that. So it just kind of threw myself into the fire a little bit.
Sometimes that's the best way to go.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't really know what to expect. So it was kind of honestly, I didn't have any Q School experience. I had heard everyone's horror stories and good stories, but I just kind of went with the flow and it kind of worked out.
What's your favorite course down there? I know you've only been there a couple of years, but.
Oh, I've got a kind of a hidden gem that not many people know about. It's called Wickenburg Ranch Golf and Social Club. It's about an hour outside of town on the way to Vegas. And it's so money. It's better than pretty much all the private courses that I've got the opportunity to play here. And it's just so good. They have 18 holes and it's just in immaculate shape. It's not the hardest golf course, but they've got 2 drivable holes. They've got 5 par 5s. And then they have probably one of the coolest par 3 courses you've ever seen. There's a lake, and then they built a bar and restaurant in the middle of the lake. And then every 2 or 3 holes, there's a little bridge that comes back to it. And it's built on a canyon. So you've got a couple holes on the ridge, then you drop down the ridge. There's speakers on every tee box and green. And then there's a bunker next to all the tee boxes. So you can do side bets out of the bunker to the par 3s.
Wow.
Yeah.
That just sounds like a sweet place to go.
Yeah, it's a good place to get away. You just take your guys up there that's a place I'll take a bunch of my buddies who aren't pro golfers. And it's just like a fun day of all day golf and just kind of a way to decompress, but still get out and play a little bit.
Right. Nice.
Do you get nervous playing with your buddies? Like, since you're the golf pro, that if like you got to perform and you know that you're better than them and.
Well, it's funny because a lot of my buddies are former college players.
Yeah.
And so like my roommate played college golf at Notre Dame. Like we played this morning, he fired like 40 and then on the back end he had like 4 birdies. So like they're still really good and they'll throw on a good round every now and then. So it's not those ones. It's the guys that never played competitive golf that are pretty good, that when we go play, they take it super, super seriously. And normally when I go play with like my buddies, I'm just kind of messing around, having a relaxed day.
Yeah.
So those are the ones, like if it gets to like 13 or 14 and we're close, I kind of have to turn it on a little bit to finish, because I can't let them get that on me for the next year. I mean, they'll
Right.
get
Yeah,
it every round.
that's yeah. Do you struggle with remembering to have fun playing golf, like when you're in that competitive mode?
You know, I actually consider myself one of the lucky pro golfers. Golf is just my favorite thing to go do still. And so it's honestly hard for me to take a day off. The days off for me are the hardest days in the world because I just don't know what to do. So obviously golf's really hard and it kicks the crap out of me and it frustrates me and all these other things. But I still, there's no way you could ever get me to not come back the next day.
It's awesome. It's the best part of your game.
Short game. Yeah. I honestly contributed a lot to when my dad moved to the golf course. I mean, I'd come home and chip and putt and barefoot and throw balls everywhere. And I just kind of learned how to chip and putt and do different lies, stances, whatever, when I was young. And then I actually was fortunate enough. I started working with a coach named James Seekman when I was 13, who's been a kind of a renowned short game coach for a long time. And I've had a great relationship with him. And so he's kind of sharpened all my skills and kind of taught me why the things I do are good and why it's unique. And so been lucky to kind of be homegrown and then kind of get sharpened by one of the premier guys in the country.
Nice. Well, what's your weakest part of the game then?
You know, I think it's honestly probably the mental game at this point. It just gets hard, especially now because scores are so low. It's easy to shoot a couple under, miss the cut, and feel like you're the world's worst golfer because some dude just shot 22 under to win on the same golf course.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
It's hard to stay. I think just staying consistent, staying positive. Everyone at our level puts in the work and their swings are great and they hit it far and they chip and putt good enough. Some guys are a little better than others, but I think trying to learn how to be consistent mentally all the time is hard. Just kind of ride with the lows and just understand that there's just going to be weeks with golf. You're just, no matter how hard you want it to be, or no matter how hard you've been working, it's just not going to be there. And it's kind of a hard pill to swallow sometimes where you kind of do everything you could and just for whatever reason, just game wasn't there.
Where does your patience lie within golf?
In terms of what?
What I mean by that is, when do you get impatient?
Slow starts. You know, for me, I'm kind of a high anxiety guy. So the first couple of holes for me, I'm always like, oh, let's go. Like, come on. And sometimes that leads me to getting off to slow starts. So I'll make a bogey, I'll stupid bogey, I'll three putt, I'll miss club something because I'm jacked up. And so the first 5 or 6 holes for me are always big in every round, because if I can settle in, the faster I settle in, the better I'm going to play. Because I know going in with how I am, I'm always going to be amped the first couple of holes, but the sooner I can kind of get in the groove, the better I'm going to do. So the first few holes are really important for me. And so that's kind of become an emphasis for me, because I've kind of realized the tournaments I don't play well is when I don't settle in until the middle of the round. And it's just too late at that point at our level. You just can't even par, one over, one under. That just doesn't do it in pro golf. Right. So
I think on the first hole, you just need to stand there and say, send it.
Yeah. We've been working on it. It's been a point of contention.
What's the biggest struggle that you've had in just the overall game of golf?
Mental health, for sure. Going to Alabama was a big decision from Sacramento, just in terms of everything. It's far away. Culture's different. I'd never gone there, to be honest. I'd never been to Alabama before I committed. And
did they recruit you?
Yeah. So my recruiting's a crazy story. I was committed to SMU. I committed my freshman year of high school to Josh Gregory, who is now a performance golf coach for tons of guys on tour, a bunch of college players. And that team was going to be sweet. They were going to have Bryson, Austin Smotherman, Harry Higgs would have been the seniors. Then Austin Connolly, who's on the European tour, Gordon Neal's on the Korn Ferry tour, and then I would have been the freshman that class. And then the kids behind me were stacked too. I mean, our team was going to be silly. And then I ended up, Larry Brown, who coached for the Sixers, was the basketball coach at the time, decided to pay some students to take his players' classes. And the NCAA decided to crack down on it, which with SMU's history wasn't a good thing for the school.
Right.
And so that led to a bunch of penalties that applied to all the programs at the school. So loss of scholarships, loss of postseason, amongst other things. And so it kind of made it to where I couldn't go there. And so I had my mindset on 2 schools and didn't tell anyone I decommitted, just kind of kept it private because I thought I had my mind made up. And 2 weeks before signing day, I get a call on Thursday night from Coach Sewell, Alabama. Says, "Hey, Josh, Coach Sewell, heard you decommitted. Is that, I've heard through the grapevine you decommitted. Just wanted to see if that's accurate." And I was like, "Yeah, Coach, it is." And he's like, "Would you want to consider Alabama?" I was like, "Coach, yeah, you have a great program. I'm interested, but just to be honest, I kind of have my mind made up." And he's like, "Well, if you can do it, we would love to have you on a visit this weekend and kind of see." And I was like, "It's already Thursday." He's like, "Well, we have a plane ticket for you tomorrow morning." And so I walked down to my parents' room and I was like, "Hey, can you guys take me to the airport?" And they're like, "What?" And so they dropped me off at the airport.
Can you take me to Taco Bell? It's like just so nonchalant.
Yeah. And so they take me to the airport. I fly out to Tuscaloosa. They show me the campus on Friday. They're actually in a away football game, so I didn't get to see a game. And then played golf on Saturday. And I actually committed on my visit Saturday night. And that was October of my senior year. So, and I was there January 1st. So, I mean, I was there 3 months later.
Wow.
But yeah, so to go back to everything. So you just, the whole Alabama thing was hard. I mean, far from home, I never got to go home for birthdays. Any small holiday, Thanksgiving, I always miss. Easter, I always miss. So I'd get 2 weeks at Christmas and part of the summer. Because we were always at NCAA, so we never finished up till after the first week of June. And so just missed my family, missed home. The culture was a big difference. I mean, when they say Southern, even Southern culture in general, they're very welcoming, but there's a little bit of two-face to it. And the racism's still there. And just what I noticed is people don't like leaving their little bubbles down there, which is, it's fine. It's how they live. But from California, kind of grew up a little bit different. And so It was hard finding people with similar interests and similar values. And so having big groups of friends was tough. And then obviously with golf, we were so dang busy too. So it was easy to get kind of lost in just kind of the process of how everything goes. And so that was something I struggled with throughout my sophomore and junior year pretty bad. And then once I got to Scottsdale is when I finally started kind of making the turn on that. So it's been kind of a nice progression this year to kind of get out of that, but it's hard for sure. I definitely sympathize with anyone that struggles with that. It's not very easy by any means.
So do you think that, with your time in Alabama, that's what made you jump right into the fire, move to Scottsdale and go straight to Q school? You were just ready to get out of there? Or?
I was always wanting to go back to the West Coast anyway. So that
Sure.
had nothing to do with Scottsdale. California is not the best place to live, and Scottsdale was kind of the next best option for pro golf, at least. It definitely had a part to play with me wanting to leave early. It's actually funny. If I stayed, I'd still be there right now. I'd be a fifth-year senior because of the whole COVID. 2020 wasn't a real season, and so I'd be a fifth-year senior still on the team. But I just knew for what was best for my mental health, and I really loved Alabama. Our team was great, and all the stuff we got to do was incredible. But I think what was best for me was to kind of go out on my own and start kind of rebuilding myself a little bit. I love my time there, and it taught me a lot of things. But I think my playing career was affected a lot due to that. And it's to be fair, it's really hard to play when you have anxiety and depression. But it's honestly taught me a whole lot about myself and what really makes me happy. And I think it's part of the reason why I've been a lot more successful as a pro than I might have been had I not dealt with that, to be honest.
Sure. Yeah.
How has golf changed your life?
Golf's one of those things, there's no hiding from it. There's no bad days there. You can't hide from a bad day. You can't hide from the good days. Not that you want it, but you get to meet all kinds of people. You learn about different cultures. It just kind of teaches you about life in general. And I'm really lucky I get to meet, like Alabama, for instance. I got to meet people that grew up in the South their whole life. We had other athletes that were from other countries. Now when I go travel, like Latin America, for example, the thing that's been shocking to me is how much older most of the tours. I'd say the average guys are like 26 to 30. And at 23, it's kind of weird I played with a guy in my last tournament who was 36 with like 3 kids. And you're like, wow, that's a different life than I'm living right now.
Right.
But it just kind of makes you appreciate what you have. I mean, at 23 years old, I mean, I could be doing a whole lot worse than traveling to Colombia and Ecuador and getting to do what I love. But it's definitely made the person I am. And it just kind of teaches you so many things. I mean, even when you struggle, I mean, you get to a really, really dark places sometimes, but you kind of realize that even though it's what I do for a living, it's not what makes me who I am. And so it just kind of teaches a lot of life lessons, even though it's a sport. I mean, it's kind of cliche to say.
Yeah, I mean, I've always heard, like in the business world, they say you ever want to really meet somebody, you take them golfing, because golf brings out who they really are. You know, he seems like a nice guy until he's throwing clubs. And
Definitely.
So you're a single guy, obviously no kids. Do you have a girlfriend? Does she play golf?
Yeah, I do. So I met her. So every winter break, there is some amateur tournaments in Scottsdale. So I actually met her in Scottsdale. She's from here.
Okay.
So the girls play the Silver Bell, which is always the couple days prior to New Year's, and the guys play the Patriot, and they play the Saguaro Amateur, which is right after New Year's. And so the tournaments were pretty smart and gave the kids the 31st and the 1st off. So you kind of got to have a New Year's Day a little bit. And so all the friend groups kind of get together and you do your thing. And so one of my best friends and one of her best friends were good friends. And we happened to just kind of be at the same party and get talking and get to know each other. And she played golf at Tennessee, and she's a year older. So she was a senior when I was a junior, which happened to be my last semester. So for that spring semester, we kind of commuted back and forth. I made a couple more drives than she did. And then I was already coming to Scottsdale, and then she is living with her family right now. So she is here as well. She lives probably 25, 30 minutes away. And then she plays on the Cactus Tour, and then she also has some Symetra status as well. So she played a couple events last year, which I actually caddied in 2 of them, which was kind of a different perspective on how girls pro golf is. But yeah, so she's playing as well.
Do you remember your opening line to her at that party?
You know, it's really funny.
Send it.
So one of the guys that played on her team who I didn't know, I definitely used him as like, oh, hey, like I played with this guy one time. I definitely don't think I did. And then my buddy gave me a $100 bill to go buy a drink for him and whoever, because it's all he had. And I went up to her and I was like, hey, do you want a drink? And I had a $100 bill that wasn't mine and bought her a drink with it.
Nice and easy, and it worked. Hey, do you want a drink?
Yeah.
Perfect. I love it. So she's a professional golfer. You're a professional golfer. That makes it's easy to support each other, obviously. And the conversations have got to be do you guys talk about anything else besides golf?
You know, it's funny because I'm not a golf nerd, but golf's like my favorite thing to do. So
you really are a golf nerd. It's okay, Josh. I'm a golf nerd. Mike's a golf nerd.
But like the club stuff doesn't do it for me. Like I can't even tell you the type of shafts I hit. It's just the actual playing golf is the golf that I geek out about. Yeah. And so like today I went and played with a buddy today, and she flew back. So I picked her up from the airport, and then so like on the way home, I'm like, oh, in this hole I hit this shot. It was so sweet. And then so like I geek out on my golf shots, but she's not the big golf fanatic we are. So she's always like, oh, let's talk about this, talk about that. So we honestly, when we're not golfing, we're trying to do anything else. But we just try to have fun. Go to the pool, do whatever. But I'm definitely the one instigating all the golf talk for sure.
Hey, honey, how was your day? Well, on number 6, you wouldn't believe it. This lie I got. And she's like, shut up, Josh. I don't care about number 6. Let's talk about
anything.
Are you guys sports fans in general then as well?
I am. She's kind of so. She kind of picks it up for me. It's hard because she went to Tennessee and they suck at everything. So I'm trying to piggyback her on.
Wow. Shots fired. Volunteers. So
It's 16 years they haven't beaten us. So I mean, there's actually a Twitter account dedicated to every single day they tweet the number of days, and that's all they tweet. And it's like 5,000 something. It's ridiculous.
we know the SEC is the best conference in college football. So is the SEC the best conference in college golf?
It is. If it's not, it's pretty damn close. My sophomore year, we were the first conference ever to have every single team make regionals. So we had 13 teams make regionals, and I'm pretty sure, we had a year where like we had 6 teams in the top 10 at one point. I mean, it's just kind of silly, to be honest, how many guys we had. And it's kind of interesting now that you get like Sam Burns, you get Cameron Champ, and Robbie Shelton. I mean, guys that we were playing in conference all the time, there's like 10 of them on the PGA Tour right now.
You are the second SEC player that we have had on the podcast. The first one is a friend of mine from Idaho. You probably know him, Grayson Huff.
Yeah, I know Grayson.
Yeah, Grayson and I go back to his junior days. And yeah, we had him on, in December. So SEC guys, always good. Southern gentlemen, and yeah, good stuff. We're going to move on to some fun stuff here. We got some quick hitters and a fun rapid fire game that we like to play. These are mainly golf related. And then a couple of ones to kind of throw you off and catch your personality, Josh.
Okay.
Josh Sedeno, are you ready to play?
Yep.
What's the last shot that gave you nightmares?
Oh, goodness. Oh, there's this hole. It's at True. I played True North this weekend. It's got to be the first hole at True North because it's like 470 and you want to hit iron, but you have to hit driver, and it's brutal.
How many hours a day do you practice?
Oh, I would say on average 5.
Best advice you've received from a fellow pro?
Don't take it too seriously. It's a long career, and you're going to have your ups and your downs, and just kind of take the good with the good. And when it's going bad, just kind of keep your head down and keep working. It's going to at some point turn around.
What's your favorite sport to watch?
Baseball.
Who have you not played with that you want to?
For me, I would say, man, that's a tough one.
This can be anybody.
Yeah, that's where I was thinking about. Yeah. For me, it would probably be, there's so many good answers here. I'm a big Will Smith fan. Okay. So maybe Will Smith. I know he's a terrible golfer, but I think it'd be cool to get to meet him and play with him.
Shout out Fresh Prince. Favorite club in your bag. The rest will be all golf. Favorite club in your bag is?
My 58-degree wedge.
Ooh. Dog leg left or dog leg right?
Dog leg right.
Front pin or back pin?
Front pin.
If you could only play one course forever, what course would it be?
Oh, goodness. Probably my golf course I grew up back home. It's called Cota Verdera, just for the people. I mean, I really enjoy going home. When I go home, my first day I don't even practice. I just walk around and talk to everybody. Draw
or fade?
Fade.
If you could only play in one, you have to play in either of these. Would you rather play in the wind or the rain?
Wow. The rain.
Okay. You have a 300-yard hole. Water guards the green on the left. Thick rough on the right. You go for it or you lay up?
Going for it.
Attaboy.
Send it.
Links or tree line course?
Tree lined.
All right. And the last fun one is, if you could change any rule in the game of golf, what would it be?
Wow. I would hope that they would change a rule about being in divots in the fairway. I have been in so many this year, and I'm so tired of it.
That's not even set up for all of our listeners listening right now, Josh. I kid you not. How many people have answered that? Luke Kwan almost said verbatim what you just said.
Yeah.
And I think we've had 2 other guests say divots in fairway is just ridiculous. So,
it's awful.
Well done. That is rapid fire, everybody, with Josh Sedeno. Roll Tide. What's your For these long road trips, do you have any like go-to playlists that you really like getting the groove on, and like we're going for 6-10 hours? Who do you put on? Who's on that playlist?
They have these new things. So I really like country. So I'll definitely have my country little hour or two. But my driving music is this group called Two Friends, and they make these hour-long big booty mixes. And they have these hilarious, they'll do their little beat or whatever, and then they'll have this little 5 to 10 second, it'll be a quote from the news that happened, a funny line from a movie, just something pop culture, and they're really funny. So they're definitely good driving music for sure.
Nice. What's the longest road trip you've made for golf outside of your U-Haul trip to Scottsdale?
Longest trip for golf. I drove from Sacramento to Scottsdale. So that was like 14 hours. That was a pretty good one.
And you definitely want to make sure you made the cut before you leave.
Yeah. I gave Bryson a little bit of crap for that one. That was a pretty bonehead move.
That was pretty funny.
I want to go back to when you kind of start your round and you kind of get, it takes you a little bit to get settled in. Are you a leaderboard watcher?
Gosh, not when I play, but definitely like in between rounds. Yeah, I can't stop hitting refresh. It's a bad habit. I'm really trying to break that one.
Yeah.
But once I get going, I try to turn my phone, especially in the mini tour events when you can use your phone. I try to turn it off and just kind of unplug and just focus on playing. But it's so much easier said than done. When the media starts coming around and the tour people, and even like on the Outlaw Tour, I mean, the guy running it, if you're near the lead, he's out there with his phone. So you kind of have an idea of what's going on.
Finish this sentence for me, Josh.
Yep.
Without golf, I would be.
Ooh, I'd want to be a coach of some kind. Mm-hmm. I've always wanted to probably golf, obviously. Giving back's always been kind of a big thing for me, and I really like helping people. So like, especially even now when I go give a lesson to a buddy or something, it's really fun for me to see someone who really struggles with something and you give them some little tidbit of advice that really isn't that much. And then all of a sudden the light bulb clicks and they're like, oh, wow, like, that's kind of fun. And so it's kind of cool seeing other people's, what's the word for it? Kind of enthusiasm for golf, which is cool because for me, it's kind of my thing. So it's kind of cool seeing other people get that same enthusiasm too.
That's awesome. You ever been on the range and like, after a while, people start looking at you and they're like, oh, okay. They hear really, really good ball striking. And they're like, you ever get approached, say, hey, I noticed you're pretty good. Do you want to come take a look at my swing? You ever get those?
Yeah, well, in Scottsdale, we've got so many golf. I mean, everyone's a self-proclaimed golf fanatic or whatever. And so, sure. Yeah, I mean, you go to the range and you start hitting. And the other thing too, like with our bags, I mean, it's pretty easy to tell that we're all pros and stuff. So yeah, they'll come up and ask questions and they'll be like, oh, I'm working on this and doing this. And you just kind of give them enough to like, yeah, I'm listening. Nice to meet you. And then like, I kind of got to go back to my practice. But yeah, I mean, Of course, yeah, somebody's always trying to get a tip for free.
Do you get it the other way around where they're like, hey, you should try this instead?
The unsolicited golf advice guy.
The one that's funny that cracks me up is my PT guy that I always go to. I go all the time, and I've become his golf coach. And so I give him lessons and stuff, but he treats all these old executives and golfers, and they watch the Golf Channel and they get their tip of the day, and they come in, I give them the tip of the day, and I go out and give them a lesson. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? I do this for a living. This is my job. He's like, you're listening to a 15 handicap that got this tip from the Golf Channel, and it ain't working for you.
I saw it on TV. It's got to work.
Oh, it drives me up a wall. We work so hard to get his game good, and then he goes off and does some stack and tilt my right shoulder. Dude, I've been really working on my left shoulder. I was like, no, stop.
Well, as long as he doesn't show up with a hammer driver one day. What for you when you're playing, what do you think separates the guys at the top of the leaderboard from the rest?
Week to week, it's the hot putter. I mean, everybody hits it so good now. It's just who's making the 5 to 10 footers, who gets the bounce that could be behind the tree in the bunker, out of bounds. Like, it's just the 1 or 2 good bounces, and then just making your putts that are always like kind of 50-50 on the week.
Right. All right. So one of my favorite questions.
Yeah.
You're 23 when you're 50 and you're watching the Masters. Who's going to be the honorary 3? Let's start the Masters.
It's going to be Tiger, Rory, and kind of think DJ. Now that he's won, I think DJ might sneak into that mix. I think if he hadn't won, he might not have. But yeah, I think he could definitely be in there for sure.
Now, 2 questions off of that. Do you not say Phil because he'll be dead by then, or did you not put him in your group?
I just to be honest, I blinked on Phil. He's probably more deserving than DJ with 3 Masters.
And then Rory,
Rory hasn't even won. Yeah,
does Rory have to win one?
Yeah. If Rory wins one, he's a for sure. Just because I think of his personality and who he is.
And in 30 years, I still want to watch him swing a golf club.
That's true, though. No honorary starters have never not won the Masters. They all have won. Yeah,
I think that's together.
I think it's a requirement.
It has to be.
Yeah, it has to be. Oh boy, what else, Josh? This is great. You got any final? Like, what's next for you? I mean, you're going to do these next 4 tournaments, and then you did say that's done. You're for this year, and then
do
you keep status if you don't do well?
You need to finish in the top 70 to keep your card.
Where are you at right now? And we're talking money list, right?
Points, money list, all the same.
Sure.
And so there's only like 50 guys with points because we've only played 3 events. There's not really enough points, so that's why they're trying to get as many events as they can. But so top 5 Corn Ferry automatically advance to Corn Ferry. 6 through 15 go to final stage of Q School, and then 16 through 70 keep their card and get to skip pre-qualifying, so they go to first stage. So obviously, just overall goal, at least minimum, keep your card, and then just finish as high as you can to try to skip as many stages of Q School as you can, because for Corn Ferry. So as many of those as you can skip would be great for sure.
And where are you at right now?
I don't have any points. I got hurt in the first one and then got sick I got the food poisoning in the second one we just played. So I'm very eager to go out and play well in June.
So with there not being that many events, is it almost a situation of just showing up so you can get points?
Yeah, I mean, on a typical year to finish in the top 70, you have to at least play decent. This year, you're just probably going to need one really good finish, and that's it. It's not going to take a whole lot.
Sure.
Josh, I'll leave you with this thought. Obviously, you need to go send it. And when we had Grayson on his next event, he won. So I'm going to leave you with that. An SEC boy, another SEC boy.
Podcast bump.
Josh Sedeno, thanks so much for joining us, man. Can I get a Roll Tide before you leave?
Roll Tide.
Rough Fairways is produced by Eddie Dunn and Mike Sells. I want us all to go back and listen to that section where Josh talks about his anxiety and his depression and how he has overcome. It's a great message for us all. Just send it. Thank you, Josh. Thank you for sharing your story. Go kick some butt this year. Everyone, thank you so much for listening. And please, everybody, be kind to each other.